Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Freedback Friday edition of the Rundown. We have with us our guest host. Let's go ahead and get him on right now and make sure that we have his audio this time. Yehuda, are you there?
I am here. Can you hear me now?
Oh, yes, we can hear you. You can be heard by the audience. Thank you so very much. And everyone out there, we very much appreciate you. For those of you who didn't see the first attempt at today's show, I'm Craig DeLuz. I will be hosting today, coming at you from the left coast. But as you know, I do not do this program by myself.
No, he does not. My name is Mike Piwowarski. I am today's co-host, coming to you from the East Coast. I'll be in the number 2 position.
All right. And our guest host, our special guest host in our, is this a three-way or a threesome?
Depends on how much alcohol you've had.
Okay. Anyway, we have with us a trainer, author, commentator, writer, author. I mean, you just name it. Yehuda Reamer is the man when it comes to stuff. And he's also known. Matter of fact, I will let you share with the audience, for those of you who do not know you, your I don't know if it would be your moniker or your nickname.
So I guess you can call it a moniker, right? But it's really my brand. It's the Pew Pew Jew. I write children's books on firearms safety, firearms education, history of the Second Amendment, and I have an entire brand called the Pew Pew Jew, which is kind of think grunt style, but for Jews. It's a place that Jews can call their own, a lifestyle brand, patriotic apparel that have a Second Amendment Jewish twist to a lot of it.
Dude, that is phenomenal. That is just so impressed. So what now? Just tell me real quick. What got you into writing children's books?
Oh God, had to shut my parents up. Basically what happened was when my parents found out that I owned a gun. I was married, 2 kids. I didn't live in the house anymore, obviously, and I was on my own with my wife. And I happened to go back to my parents' house for dinner one night, and my younger brother was like, "Hey man, when are we gonna go shoot your Glock?" And my parents had like a full-on Chernobyl nuclear meltdown, and I decided the best way to shut my parents up, because they wouldn't talk to me for weeks, was educate. And I'm like, if I'm going to have guns in the home, I need to educate my children. I went to the NRA's website. I found the Eddie Eagle program, but unfortunately, let me rephrase. As great as the Eddie Eagle program is, all it does is talk about what to do if you find a gun somewhere it's not supposed to be. And there is so much more to firearms safety and firearms education. So I went to the next best place for research. I went to Amazon, and I was genuinely shocked to find that there was no books specifically written for children on gun safety. So I'd always been a very I always really enjoyed creative writing, so I set out to write my first book, right somewhere over that side. I don't even know where this is. Right there, safety on. So I wrote my first book, and God, the rest is kind of history.
Phenomenal. That sounds cool. That sounds cool. Well, so you know, kind of the makeup of the program, but pretty much what we do is we got a list of stories. They're all kind of right there, and then we just kind of go through them and talk about what our particular perspectives are. And coming from a free state, we're assuming you and Mike are probably used to like freedom and liberty and stuff like that. Me being in a communist socialist state. My take sometimes is a little bit different in that I'm constantly trying to fight to obtain that freedom and liberty
Right.
that you guys enjoy. So anyway, it always makes for a good discussion.
Hey, Craig, before we jump into the stories, can I give you a quick Yehuda story?
Yes, please give me a quick Yehuda story.
I think it was, I don't remember, what is it, 7 years ago now, the first time we were speaking at the Gun Rights Policy Conference.
No,
We
man,
were
I've only been in the industry for 4 years. This was January 20. This was September 2017.
Okay, so 17. Okay, so 4 years ago, I'm sitting at I'm on the panel we're doing new age media or dealing with media, something like that. I forget what the topic was exactly. And Yehuda is speaking. I think he was speaking before me on the panel, and he went up and he told the story. Listen, but I got it was the 6-7 minute version is what he told up on stage, and it was so fascinating that while he's there, Safety On he had just written, and it had just been published with the first one. I'm sitting there on Amazon, and I ordered a pair of books, and had them to be delivered overnight while he's on stage. And then he comes off, he sits next to me, I said, good job, hey, by the way, I just bought 2 of your books. And he kind of laughed. And then I went up on stage, did mine, and came back, and he's like, you did just buy 2 of my books. It's like, yeah, I told you. I told you.
I mean, come on. In my defense, you have to understand, right? Like, my first book came out January of 2017, so it only came out 9 months before. My first real event that I went to was NRA show in Atlanta, which was in April, and I'll never forget, sitting in the media room. I mean, don't ask how I got a media badge, being in the industry for like 3 months and coming off 1 book, but I got a media badge. I'm sitting there, and I literally know 0 people in the entire firearms industry. I mean,
right.
No one. But then, I mean, this is funny, when I spoke at GRPC. So I tried getting Alan Gottlieb's endorsement on the book. I sent him a copy, and this was at the USCCA Expo in April.
Right.
I went there, and he was there, and I'm like, oh, kind of fanboying out. It's freaking Alan Gottlieb. And I walk up to him, and hey, can I get your endorsement? He's like, yeah, absolutely. He goes, would you want to speak at the GRPC? And I'm like, sure, what's the GRPC? Now, you have to understand, right? I haven't publicly spoken, like at that point, in 20 years since my bar mitzvah.
Right.
So literally in 20 years, I have not publicly spoken once.
Right.
And the next thing I know, I'm like, yeah, sure, no problem. He goes, yeah, it's the Gun Rights Policy Conference. I'm thinking to myself, right? Like I said, like 3 months into the industry now, like, Gun Rights Policy Conference, how many people go to that thing? Like 40 or 50. So I'm like, how many people do you usually speak in front of? He's like, 300 or 400. And I turned white as a ghost. And I came home, and my wife is like, you okay? I'm like, I think I made a mistake. And I told her what happened, and she's like, yeah, well, you're not backing out now. And yeah, like I said, the rest is history. So,
excellent. Well, just so you know, I was just looking on the thing, and Kevin Sona says hello.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Kevin.
All right.
Hello, Kevin.
Let's go ahead and let's start getting into the stories here. Let's start with story number 1 here. So concealed carry is kind of funny because one would think that in 2020, with everything that was going on with COVID, one would actually have thought that the number of people with concealed carry permits would either have stayed stagnant or would have gone down, largely because there were a number of state agencies that simply were not processing concealed carry permits. For example, the California Department of Justice is pretty much, a lot of their background check stuff was shut down. I know in Florida, they made it so that, you could mail your stuff in, but you weren't able to actually do the fingerprints and the processing and stuff like that. So it made it very difficult for people to get their concealed carry permits. Well, it actually turns out that in 2020, the number of concealed carry permit holders actually went up. And it went up not a small amount, but went up about 10% during 2020.
Yeah, listen, that's a huge amount, right? Because when you factor in, Craig, everybody that was working against issuing the permits, and how many stories have we done from California to North Carolina to Florida, everywhere, there was some liberal body working somewhere to prevent you from getting your firearms carry permit, your concealed permit, whatever it happens to be in your jurisdiction. Add into that, and I think we just talked about this before we went on air. Has it been 4 or 5 states in the past year that have gone to full constitutional carry? Which means there's 4 or 5 states that don't track concealed weapons permits anymore, don't issue them for the most part anymore. So you just took away a full 10-20% of the country that was even applying for permits, yet it still went up 10%.
Well, so that's an interesting point. You're right. So these are people who now don't even need to apply, yet the number, which means that in places where you do have to apply, the number actually went up.
Yeah, yeah, even more so, listen, Texas, Yehuda's in Texas, you just became a constitutional carry state. All kinds of jealous over here too, by the way.
Yeah, we just became a constitutional carry state about a month ago. It went into effect, and despite what the media said was going to happen, you do not see blood running down the streets of Dallas or Austin or anywhere else. And, it's fantastic. I love it. I do recommend, if people are watching who are in Texas and you do decide to carry with, using your constitutional rights, I do highly recommend still taking classes to get a permit because, A, it helps with any reciprocity laws, as well as if you do decide to purchase a new firearm, you don't have to go, run a NICS check on yourself, or the dealer doesn't have to run a NICS check, which I've had to run a few NICS checks in the last few months for people, and I will tell you, even police officers are coming back delayed because I mean I don't know what's going on at NICS, but they're delaying everybody.
Mm-hmm. Well, you make a good point. Part of the thing is even if you're just a gun owner, even if you're not a carrier or you're in a place where you can't carry, it's important that you take classes for two reasons. One, so that you're efficient and effective with your firearm and safe, but also it's important for you to know use of force law in the state where you are. And a lot of people don't get that. It's like, you can't just shoot somebody. For example, if someone is running away from your house and you shoot them in the back, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's stuff like that. It's like knowing and understanding use of force law in your state, but also, once again, knowing how to be safe with your firearm. It's so important. And Mike and I have talked about this. In areas where you don't mandate training, you actually see gun owners getting more training.
Right, because they're responsible. I really do believe that a majority of people who decide to carry are obviously responsible gun owners because you are taking a huge responsibility upon yourself. Now, of course, it doesn't mean you're going to have your yahoos who think that they're John Wick and will say, hey, well, they said in that movie that if someone's breaking into your house, you can just shoot them dead. It's not so simple, right? So I do think that a lot of people understand that carrying a firearm now, or not just carrying it, just even purchasing a firearm comes with a lot of responsibility, and they don't want to have, the error on them by discharging a firearm when they shouldn't have done it. So I've been seeing a lot of people really reaching out, saying, hey, where can we learn stuff? And especially people in my community.
Mm. All right. So Kevin just noted that permitless carry, he was saying that what we need is permitless carry, not constitutional carry, because they're not really the same thing. What's your thought on that, Mike?
It depends on how each law is written in each state. If they tell you that this is what constitutional carry is, it means carrying without a permit, then that's what it is. It actually just, and I understand where Kevin's going, but constitutional carry and permitless carry can be the same thing. They can be different things. It depends on how each state defines the term in the law.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so then that then leads us to a whole nother conversation about open carry. Now, in the state of Texas, obviously we know there was just recently a high school shooting, which, by the way, it's interesting because the person who was involved in the shooting was basically released on bond and was really only being charged with assault. I'm not sure the full terminology of what he was charged with, but he was charged with assault. But they're actually blaming open carry in Texas for this high school shooting. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but open carry only starts and is only available in Texas if you're 21 and over, right?
I believe so, yes. I mean, you can only, so it's interesting. In Texas, you you have to be 21 or older to carry a handgun. And unlike other states, in Texas, once you are allowed to carry a handgun, you are allowed to carry open or concealed. Our license, hypothetically, if you actually have a license, it's a license to carry, and that gives you the option to carry open or concealed. You can choose however you want to carry. Um, Also, to my knowledge, I do believe you have to be 18 or older to have a rifle. So you can, if you're 18 or older, you can open carry a rifle. You can't conceal carry a rifle, I believe, but you can, go anywhere you want with a AR-15 or AK, whatever you want. Now you don't see that because people aren't stupid. But hey, if you want to do it, it's your right to do it. Go ahead. So it's crazy because I mean, even if you're looking at this case, I mean, forget the fact that this kid was 18, right? So he wasn't even allowed to carry a handgun, and forget the fact that it was a gun-free zone. I mean, that had nothing to do with open carrying. This kid wasn't open carrying. He literally walked into a school carrying concealed. So it's just, again, it's just the moronic left trying to grasp at straws, because they need to blame it for something. But what's interesting is it's not just right. It's not just them trying to blame the school shooting. I mean, if you saw, I mean, this is not in the news anymore. I mean, the minute they found out that it was a black 18-year-old, or he was 17, I don't remember the exact age. I mean, their narrative is shot to hell. It disappeared. So, again, I'm not saying, I'm not pinpointing that, oh, he's black, but what I'm saying obviously is that majority of school shooters have been white, and this one happened to be black. So it's black teenager brings a gun to school in a gun-free zone when he wasn't even allowed to be carrying anyways. It's like literally their entire narrative is blown out of the water and they have nothing. So they have to grasp at straws.
That is, a little beyond insane. And it's, it was funny that you mentioned that because I noticed the very same thing. I'm like, all of a sudden when it turned out that it was a black teen, there goes our narrative. So we can't talk about that. So let's, open carry. Open carry must be the problem. And that's the other thing they do. And I see them do it a lot here in California. All of a sudden they come out and they start talking about, there's a shooting. They come out and they start talking about something that had absolutely nothing to do with the shooting because, why not try and get something done that they want to get done?
Well, it's funny, that's how I actually got into writing. I used to work for Ben Shapiro at his old website called Trutherville, and he had me doing video editing for him and stuff like that. And there was a shooting at LAX, God, must have been 10 years ago, something like that. Some guy walked in with a rifle, with an AR, and started shooting. And what's interesting is I'm following the news, and I think I just bought my first gun and just learning, the whole gun culture and about different firearms. And I'm watching ABC News, and there's this clip, this animated clip they made of the shooter coming in with a fully auto M16 with a 203 connected to the bottom. And if you go back to the actual story, the guy had an MMP-15. So like I sent the video to Ben and I'm like, hey man, how crazy is this? He's like, write it up, we'll publish it. And I wrote it up. It was like a little 1-paragraph thing, sent it to him, and like an hour later, there it is on the web with my name on it. And I kind of just got like, it was like a total shot of adrenaline, a drug. I'm like, ooh, that's cool. I got to do that again. And then that just started my writing career. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Very cool. Very cool.
Greg, just listening to everything you and Yehuda have talked about with this Texas law, again, this, like you pointed out, this underage kid, he's bringing a concealed firearm in, and like your points of view also here. It just goes to show you, Craig, that what we needed to end this, to keep this from happening, was just one more law. If we had only made shootings illegal, if we had only made carrying a concealed weapon by a minor illegal, none of this may have happened.
Exactly. See, that's what we need. More laws.
Just one more law would have
Just
stopped
one
it
more.
all, right?
Just one more, baby. Just one more law. All right, coming back out here to California.
Not seen these magic signs?
Well,
I mean,
clearly they did not. Clearly he did
sign?
not see. Which, by the way, maybe he saw it and couldn't read it, which shows the quality of Texas schools. Maybe, I don't know. Texas public schools, maybe, I don't know. Maybe what it was, I know what it was. Obviously, they forgot to put the magic incantation on the sign.
Oh, yeah, they did.
No, I think it was a picture of a Beretta, and he brought a Glock.
See, details. Details matter. Details matter.
For the record, I have no idea what kind of gun he had.
All right, back to in California. So we have a sheriff out here, the sheriff of Los Angeles, of all places, has decided that he is not going to enforce the LA County vaccine mandate when it comes to his employees. And his statement, quite frankly, was just basically this. Look, we're already dealing with a crime wave. I mean, all crime is up, including murder in the county of Los Angeles. And you want me to now, by the way, we already have they already have sheriffs who are quitting right and left because between the state legislature and the county of Los Angeles, they keep doing stuff that basically is encouraging people to hate cops and making it harder to be a cop. And at the same time, the ones who are there, the ones who are still interested in being cops, you're telling me that if they refuse to get the vaccine, I'm supposed to lay them off? Nah, I'm sorry. That's not going to work.
Yeah, let me clear this, Craig. You said sheriffs. I'm sure it was just you just stepped on the tongue. The deputies are leaving in mass because they don't want to get rid of them. The sheriffs are the elected officials. Deputies work for the sheriffs, deputy sheriffs. So, which has always been weird, by the way, Craig, that police officers work for departments, but deputies work for offices, sheriff's offices. So, it's always been kind of weird for me. But, yeah, the deputies are leaving en masse. The police officers are leaving en masse for whatever reason. Listen, this sheriff has already been defunded. He's already been had taken away. He's had laws taken away that help protect the community. And now you want to go to him and say, listen, you've got guys that have stuck around through horrible times, through more riots, through a lack of funding, and those that have exposed themselves to all manners of criminal, criminal liabilities and now physical and illnesses that they're exposing themselves to. Those that are choosing to stay, you want me to get rid of? Well, Craig, I hope you got the picture ready because he would really like the governor there to consume a satchel of riches.
Did you just say the cops in LA are exposing themselves?
Yes, they're exposing themselves to dangers of all kinds.
Okay, all right.
Dangers of all kinds. and the sheriff there has asked the governor to consume that satchel of riches.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with the actual vaccine, but in terms of people leaving, mass exodus, it's going to be very interesting what happens at SHOT Show this year. Because I just found out if you go to the SHOT Show's website, I registered today. And if you go to SHOT Show's website, they say that they will be following Nevada's mask mandate laws, and you will be mandated to wear a mask at SHOT Show.
Yeah, here's how I see that going, Yehuda. Because remember, you're fighting a two-front political battle in Nevada. You have the governor who's a Democrat and wants to see all matters of control and everybody wear a mask and have to take a vaccine every day and get your temperature taken anally at the door, right? Yet the mayor of Las Vegas is a pro-conservative person. She is since the day is long. So I see maybe perhaps, and again I see LBMPD involved in this. I see Clark County involved in this, where they're going to do the whole, hey, you got your mask? Good. and then that's it. There's no way
So,
at all
so
to enforce 100,000 people to wear a mask. I just got back from New York City, where it's mandatory mask all day, all night, in your sleep, in the bathtub. Was in a baseball game with 42,000 people in the stands, and the only person wearing a mask was the catcher. Okay, nobody cared. The cops don't care, and they're not going to enforce.
I'm not. But here's the thing, Mike. I'm not worried about the cops. I'm not worried about any government official saying, "Oh, put your mask on while you're there." I'm worried about what NSSF will say to people because they need to save face. They do not want to get sued or become, hey, it was a super spreader event or anything like that. That's who I'm worried about.
I think, and you and I were just there, I think that the NSSF, and now that we've had, listen, you like them, you don't like them, USCCA just led the way now in these type of events coming back. NRA was, we know NRA bowed out over mostly political concerns from having their event in Houston last month. But USCCA steps up, has their event. I was there, you were there. I think I saw one or two masks. If people want to wear a mask, they let them. Nobody was enforcing anything. If you wanted to wear it, it was a personal choice, and that's it. And I thank them for stepping forward and doing that. And I think NSSF has to take that handoff from them now and go forward.
Look, I agree with you. It's going to be very interesting to see if vendors, for example, want to risk spending the $4 billion to get a booth only to have them say, hey, you're being forced to wear a mask. I'm very interested to see what will happen if vendors will pull out because they don't want to, be forced to wear a mask.
I think the mayor has more to say about what happens at SHOT Show than the governor does. And I think Sands, right now, if you told Sands we wanted to have an Ebola epidemic virus, conference, they would have it. They want people there. It doesn't matter what we do.
No, I hear that.
But by the way, just speaking of SHOT Show, I'm sure we are going to see there our good friend Mr. Matt Mallory from Meet the Pressers. He's actually has commented on Facebook. Want to say hello to both of you.
Nice.
How's it going there, Matty boy?
Tell Matt.
Right.
If Matt's still watching, tell him I emailed Elise and I'm getting the Blackbeard.
Okay.
There you go. You got that. You heard it, Jack.
We heard it. And look, it's now recorded. It's all over the Weber nets. It'll never disappear.
That's okay.
He's committed. Love it. Love it. Okay, moving right along. Tesla. Now, this is kind of from California to Texas.
No.
So Tesla's now moving their headquarters. We already know that when they were deciding where they were going to build their big plant, they decided that they were not going to do it in California because, well, doing business in California is not a smart thing, especially if you want to make money. So now, though, they're deciding that they're going full bore. They're actually going to be moving their national headquarters or their international headquarters out of California to the state of Texas. And you still have California politicians insisting that California is not an anti-business state.
Yeah, listen, before we give this to Yehuda, because I know he's loving getting more Californians in Texas with him. This, Craig, we talked about this before. This is because the local politicians up there in Alameda County or San Francisco decided that they were bigger and more important than Tesla and Elon Musk, right? So they said, if you don't like it, you can leave. And he did this. Well, bye. just left.
Liberals don't like him anyway because, first of all, he won't unionize his plant. I mean, Biden just had a big electric car summit, right, at the White House. Did not invite Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Didn't even talk about Tesla, right? Even though something like 60 to 80% of all the electric cars that are sold are Teslas.
Yep. I do know this, Craig, that the move is currently ongoing. It would have been completed earlier, but they have to stop every night, every 300 miles to recharge. So
Well, I thought it was funny because you have the governor of California, Gavin Newsom, saying, "Well, we're leaders in business, and for example, we protect a woman's right to choose." And evidently, they're not planning on doing any abortions at Tesla, so they decided that Texas is a safe place for them to be.
Yehuda, what would you like to tell the great people of Tesla and of California that are coming to Texas? What should they know ahead of time?
Go somewhere else. It's hot. Don't come here. The mosquitoes are bigger. Everything's scarier. Oh God! Just don't come. Look, I'm from California originally. I moved here 7 years ago, but I just don't want to see all these Californians come into Texas. I'll tell you, when I'm driving on the highway here or driving on the street and I see someone with a California license plate, if my family's not in the car, I'm yelling at the top of my lungs, "Go the F back to California. We don't want your kind here." And I don't stop. We're already turning purple as it is. We don't need more of you. Stay.
We don't want none of your kind here.
Yeah, right.
Be careful who you say that to.
Yeah. Obviously, I'm talking. Yeah. I'm talking to Robert Downey Jr. No, but
you mean you people,
exactly. Such a great movie. But no, it's just it's what we're literally turning purple, and Greg Abbott, who I pray to God is voted out of office. Greg Abbott is just inviting all these big plans to come here, bring the jobs here. It's like, yeah, you're going to bring all these jobs here. Great, that's nice. But then all the people you're bringing here are going to vote for the liberal policies that made them leave in the first place, and you're just going to have an issue. Why?
I think what you should do is guys should introduce an law. You should mandate before someone can move to Texas, they have to pass "This is Texas pledge," right? Yeah. Sign "This is Texas pledge." Don't screw it up.
Yep.
They should all get a Donald Trump vaccine before they come in. That's how you know you really want to move here.
Don't talk about no. Don't call it a Donald Trump vaccine.
I'm just messing.
We're talking about injecting window cleaner into you.
Hey, just a little bit of bleach. They proved it works. Okay, everybody laughed at the man. But they said,
Lord Jesus.
They said it works. He said, "How come we can't put him under UV lights?" And they were like, "Because that's ridiculous. And actually, we think that would work, sir." So sorry.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Listen. The same thing that we tell people, down here in Florida is, "Don't New York up my Florida." So it's the same thing. Listen, we will bring you. And DeSantis has put these ads on New York television, and it's horrible. He says, "Come to Florida, be free, leave your New York politics behind." And I think if Texas does that, then Texas can make it happen. Hey, come to Texas, leave your California politics behind. You do that, that's good.
I agree with you. Greg Abbott doesn't have the balls to do that, right?
The thing is, there is a disconnect with most people, the understanding that the people who you elect to office are the ones who ruin the place where you're leaving. If you elect the same sort of people, they're going to do the same exact thing where you're going, and you're going to make where you're moving to unaffordable for your children.
Yeah.
But they just don't get it. I see it happen within the state of California. I've seen communities in Northern California that were once the place to live, and then liberals moved in, liberal programs moved in, the community went down, the community went to pot, and then all of a sudden the people who had the money moved someplace else and did the same exact thing.
Yeah, like I said, I want to stop seeing, if you're going to move here, see, the difference is, right? Like conservatives will move to a place and they're like, "Oh, we're moving there because it's a conservative place." Liberals will move somewhere and be like, "Oh, it's a conservative place. Let's move there and make it liberal," right? And that's why they're winning every front, because you have people willing to make serious sacrifices. So I'm just like, We need to get rid of Greg Abbott. We've got two really solid contenders here. Greg Abbott's never been primaried, so it's going to be very interesting to see in the next, few months whether or not
he's doing his best impression of a Republican.
Yeah.
It's funny. People in Texas get so mad at me when I say like we need to get rid of Greg Abbott. They're like, why? Look, he's so conservative. I'm like, first off, he's been in office for 6 years. The only reason why you see a conservative streak right now is because in March at CPAC, he came like nearly dead last in possible 2024 contenders, right? I think he got like 0.02% of the vote. And the next day, literally the next day, that's when he's like, oh, in a week from now, we are lifting the mask mandates. No more masks for Texans. And everyone's like, yeah, a little too late for that, buddy. You're the one that destroyed Texas. And then they're like, oh, but you tried getting constitutional carry. He signed it into law. I'm like, yeah, he could have done that the last 6 years, but he didn't work with anybody. He's a joke. He's a joke.
It took him potentially losing his job for him to actually do his job.
Not just his job, even his political future, right? Like a possible 2024 contender, and he's getting 0.02% of the vote, or something, like I said, something along those lines. And all of a sudden, you have Alan West and Don Huffines, who are both ridiculously conservative, saying, "Yeah, we're primarying him," and it's that simple.
It's amazing. Alan West comes to town, runs for the state Republican chairman, wins it, and within days of him winning, that's when Greg Abbott finds his testicles. It's hilarious. And now that Alan West is resigned from that position so he can run, he's an active candidate for the governor of the state of Texas. You're seeing more out of Abbott than you ever did before. So I think it's a benefit for you, Yehuda, both ways, because Abbott's going to pretend to be a good governor for the next year, right up until the time that probably Alan West wins it away from him.
Look, it would be nice. It definitely would be nice. I want to be able to wake up every morning and have a governor who, I mean, I'm sure we all would, right? I mean, God, you have DeSantis, so at least you have him. But I'm saying, like, I want to be able to wake up in the morning and realize, like, hey, I know that my rights are not going to be sold out.
Yeah.
To the highest bidder, and unfortunately,
Notice I'm just drinking my drink because I really got nothing to say about that.
Well, hold on. Now, much like California, Texas might go there sooner than you think. I also saw that Beto O'Rourke is looking at running for governor there in Texas.
Oh yeah, he is, and that's going to be fun. Okay, there's like a massive sun. Sorry.
All right, let's move on from there. We're getting kind of long and windy here. Let's go to our
Yes, we are. So we talked a little bit earlier about a good movie, and there's nothing. I mean, first of all, I think we're all of the era, and I don't want to. Yehuda, how old are you?
37.
37. Okay, so maybe you didn't grow up in the Star Trek era with Captain Kirk. But for those of you who do not know, Star Trek used to be the bomb. It really was. Captain Kirk was the man.
Star Trek still is the bomb. Captain Kirk still is the man.
Right. Especially because, he is headed back to space.
Yes.
He will be taking on the Wrath of Khan.
He's going up on the Blue Origin with Elon Musk's crew next week. So Captain Kirk is actually going to space. And I saw this, and it's got Khan going, Kirk, my old friend.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now, Elon Musk, right? Because, by the way, when he does it, he will have been the oldest person to go into space. And so Elon Musk now is on the phone. I'm sure he's calling up Betty White.
Listen, now that Kirk's going to space, listen, this could be, I think it's the 14th. This is going to be a very big deal. I mean, Craig, one of two things is going to happen. The aliens, if they exist, and they see Captain Kirk in space, they're all going to try for him. They're going to try to take him out so they can all be the chief of the Federation, right? Or when they see Kirk in space, all of their invasion plans are going to go to waste. So this is one way or the other. This is going to be a monumental event. If nothing happens, we know it's because any other living thing in the universe saw him and got afraid and left.
Didn't want to mess with Captain Kirk.
All I
You
will
can't
tell
mess with
you,
Captain Kirk. You can't mess with Captain Kirk.
all I
Listen,
will tell you, if he does not bring like a 1/18th scale size USS Enterprise with him in space, it will be absolutely a worthless trip.
listen,
Exactly. Completely
not
agree.
only do I
Completely
think
agree.
he's going to take a model of the Enterprise up to space with him, I'm pretty sure he's going to bring back a Green Orion girl.
Green Orion girl. All right. All right. We're coming up to the end of the program. It's time for us to pick a winner for today. I'm looking through the comments, and I hate to say it, and I love my good boy Kevin, but I gotta say that I think Matt is going to win the prize for comment of the day.
I believe
What
it's
do
our good friend Matthew O'Mallory. Is that his name? Matthew O'Mallory. Oh, yeah. Hello, Matthew. Matthew O'Mallory.
Excellent. So Matt, you know how to contact us to collect your winnings.
Yeah, this could be a twofer right here because this is an 80%er. I'm not sure these are legal in the state of New York where Matt is, so we might just be sending it to Yehuda instead.
Oh,
Cool.
oops.
I will definitely take it because I have plans.
He has plans. Hey, Yehuda, before we let you go, can you do us a
Yeah.
favor and let folks know how they can reach you, follow you, and the work that you're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. If you want to follow me across all social media platforms, just find at the Pew Pew Jew. I'm on Twitter. I'm on. I do a lot of Instagram. I'm on Facebook. If you're gonna hit me up on Facebook, do my public page, not my personal page. If I don't know you, probably means I don't. There's a possibility I don't like you, so I will not accept your friend request. But yeah, I'm across all social media platforms as the Pew Pew Jew. And if you want to buy signed copies of my books or just see some great swag, like I said, hoodies, t-shirts, mugs, hats, stuff like that, you can go to thepewpewjew.com.
Excellent, sir. Thank you so very much. Really appreciate you coming on the program. Hope you'll come on again with us.
Yehuda,
Yeah,
whose
no,
shirt is that
absolutely.
you're wearing? Whose shirt are you wearing now?
My shirt.
That's how
There
you
we go.
brand, baby. That's how you brand.
Yeah, right. You were there. Time to refresh.
Nice. All right, folks. Well, hey, that's going to be it for this episode of The Rundown. We very much appreciate you guys liking and sharing. We appreciate you tuning in. But remember, like, share, subscribe, and encourage your friends to do the same.
Like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you watch that playoff baseball.